Hey, this is Tim here with Expert Power Wash, and I got this trailer here to walk through with you guys.
All right, here it is. This is a 6x10 Big Tex single axle pressure washing trailer. I'll do an overview, walk around here, show you guys the general layout, and then we'll get into some of the details. So we can do these in dual axle as well. This customer wanted a single axle, so we got this thing all built out. Everything's all weight distributed. I'll show you that as we go around and get into some of the details. But we'll start over here at the front. This is going to be one of our custom units. This is a 8 gallon a minute pressure washer, gear drive, custom base. Everything's custom built on this. This isn't a production pressure washer that you typically see like a belt drive. We can do belt drives if that's something that you want, but this is more of a kind of a custom thing. So you have the gearbox there that goes between the pump and the pressure washer. And then what we've done over here, we got the nozzles all zip tied there for the customer, but what we've done here is we've relocated the unloader where it's typically on the back side of the pump. You see the 2-foot loop right there, and then it goes down here, and we call this block mounted. The reason why we do this is because it takes the vibration and the wear and tear off of the pump there, and then relocates it down to the base where it's going to be less likely to break. So you can see how we have it all plumbed there, all stainless steel fittings. All right, we'll get into the rest of the front here. We have a 24 DC marine grade battery there and battery box. This is going to be our rectangle tank. We have some slim tanks as well from our SKIDS. This is an 11 gallon. We got the safety rollover valve there. Don't typically see these on a lot of tanks because they're expensive to do. That is on there for multiple reasons. One, the tank's going to vent and it's not going to spill. And two, the pressure washer actually has a built-in fuel pump, so it's actually gonna pull fuel. So any of you guys know that are mechanical, when you pull or suck something out of another container and there's no air, it's just not gonna work. So on some of the cheaper tanks, there'll be like some type of vent here and it'll get closed up, and a lot of guys will run into issues with their pressure washer because their tank's not vented. So we've taken care of that. There's a little ball under there if anybody's familiar with the rollover valve. Once the gas splashes up to the bottom of that, it pushes the ball out, and then you don't have any leakage. We'll get into the tanks here. So there's lots of different layouts that we can do. This particular customer wanted 2 of the 100 gallon slim tanks. You can see how slim these are. They're cut in on the bottom that allows for plumbing. I'll do an overview here in the back. All stainless steel tank straps there. We'll go down and look at these a little bit closer. Carriage bolts into the top. You can see some of the welds from the stainless in there. And these are square, and then there's actually pieces that go down underneath there at the bottom, and that holds the tanks in place, as well as a place for the vertical straps to bolt to. So you can see the design of these. These are, it's kind of hard to see in the light, but these are kind of like U-shaped, and this presents the bowing of tanks that you'll see sometimes. These tanks are ridiculously stout. You could stand on these. I've done it several times. But when you get a bunch of water in here, sometimes they'll push out a little bit in the middle if you don't have them properly supported. So we got the heavy duty brackets there, or tank straps. We'll take a closer look at the plumbing down here. So we have 1.5 inch plumbing, and we're tying these 2 tanks together. And what that does is allow, as the water fills up, it uses both of the tanks as far as the volume. So we have 200 gallons for a buffer. Got the tank drain there. That's a 1 inch tank drain. You can roll that off whatever side of the trailer that you want. 55 gallon bleach tank. This again does have our heavy duty straps on here. These are stainless steel. It's a little expensive to go this way, but if you look at the design and the bottom here, you can see that it actually has sides on all 4 sides of this, along with 316 stainless steel hardware. This tank's not going anywhere. I've seen some people use like pallet strapping to hold these things on. That's crazy. You have to put on your brakes real quick or have an issue, or you have to turn the trailer or somebody rear end you, or worst case scenario, you want your tanks to make sure, you want your tanks to be stout on the trailer. You don't want them going anywhere. So that's one of the things that we've done to make sure that these things are going to be safe. So if you stand back and look, I was talking about the weight distribution. So you can see if that has bleach in it, and you have a little bit of water, you can play with your water levels. Typically on a single axle trailer, you're not going to be traveling around with water. That's why we have that big drain on there. You would just fill up, but even with a little bit of bleach there, you would have the weight with the tanks empty, pretty equally laid out on this trailer. We'll put a lot of thought into where things are gonna be, at what water levels, bleach levels things are gonna be for this thing to be the safest. You got a big blank spot in the back here. This is typically where people put their surface cleaners. You can also store brooms and whatnot, whatever you want back here. Some people will strap things to the backside of the ramp there. The ramp usually stays up on these pressure washing trailers, and you can use the whole back here for advertising. All right, we'll go over here to the business side of the trailer. So this will be considered curbside. I'll back up here so you can see this. So we'll start over here at the very back. This is 100 feet of Flexzilla 3/4. We really like this stuff. It's super flexible, as well as holds up pretty well. We had this hose on another build. It lasted 6 years. So really good stuff. Good flow as far as getting the most amount of flow into the tanks. We got the 3/4 Tiger Flex hose back there that runs in. You can see how everything is all plumbed. We'll jump down here. Everything is all plumbed and ran neatly. Comes up the tank strap and then goes into a Hudson float valve. So once the water fills up, it hits the bottom of that Hudson float valve and then turns the water off automatically for you. Going back over to the hose reel here, this is an 18-inch Titan. And if you look at the way that we have it mounted on there, we have custom fabricated in-house hose reel brackets that go into the trailer. Everything is all 316 stainless. These are super heavy duty. See if I can get a closer look here. These are super heavy duty 1/4-inch mounts that we've made here. We want to build these things to where you can pull on that thing. You could probably pick this trailer up by those straps and it's probably not going to go anywhere. I'm not saying to do that if I have to put a legal disclaimer in here, but you might be able to. All right, going over to the mixer here. This is our Pro Mixer XL, and the XL part means that we've used bigger valves on the water and the bleach. You're gonna get better flow. Then of course the middle there is the soap, that's 1/2 inch. And then we have our bleach rinse valve there. So you're actually able to pull in water into your bleach valve. That way you're not letting a bunch of 12.5 bleach sit in here and corrode that up. One of the things that we see fail the most is this one right here. So any of these parts and fittings, this is your check valve. The valve's not gonna prevent this from failing, it's just gonna prolong it to make it last a little bit longer. It's inevitable that these things are going to fail when you're spraying corrosive chemicals like bleach. It's just part of the game. But if we can get it to last a little bit longer and keep you working a little bit longer, that's our intentions. Take a look at the back here if we can see it. So this is the 7 GPM Remco pump. This is the new dual control. So we've completely switched all of our pumps over to the dual control. It has an internal bypass. It eliminates the cycling. It runs a lot smoother. Seems like it gives us a little bit more distance, and just overall performance is a lot better than the older regular Remco. So we've switched those all out. Pretty happy with them so far. We've probably got about 30 of them running out in the field right now, and all the feedback's been fantastic from them. So that's a little upgrade. They do cost a little bit more. That pump is anywhere typically from $399 to $429, and then of course we build it out onto one of our nice plates, the heavy duty switch there, all the high-end marine grade USA wiring. We don't cut any corners and use any of the Amazon stuff. Everything is heat shrinked with 3M heat shrinking, so all name brand stuff, all pure tin plated copper, the whole 9 yards. There's a bunch of videos on our channel how extensive we go with the wiring, but that's one of those areas where things could fail, and we spend a lot of time on those areas and try to make sure that it's going to be a little more reliable for you. Just like the mixer I was talking about, how we've upgraded the 3/4 valves on the water and the bleach, and then of course the rinse valve. Those little things, although it seems simple and it looks simple and there's not a lot of flash and glam on our builds, it's built to work. It's not built to go to a car show and look pretty. You know, these things, if I was to enclose this whole thing and put a nice fancy sticker on there with percentages and all that stuff, once you have a check valve that goes bad, you're not gonna see. Actually, we'll take a quick field trip over to one of our trucks, and I'll show you why guys brought this truck back. It's slated for some service today, but guys brought this back, and just walking through the shop, I was quickly able to look at the truck and see that we had a problem. Now, if we enclose all that stuff, like I was saying, inside of a fancy box and put a sweet little sticker on there, you're gonna miss things like, let me get a little bit closer, like that. That's a problem. So I don't know if this thing didn't get rinsed out or there was bleach left in there from one of the employees, but if that was inside something, I wouldn't see it. I can quickly do a quick overview, look at this skid and know that, hey, there's a red flag, I gotta get that fixed. So we're gonna fix that today, but I wanted to show you why we don't enclose any of that stuff, and I want it all out so I can see it. Let's go back on over to the trailer. Hope that little field trip makes a little more sense to why we do things, and it's simple for a reason. You guys have a problem out in the field and you need to fix something, you need to know what's going on with your equipment. We've been doing this for years, and we have fancy fabricators and different things that we can do to make these things look flashy, but we're not trying to build something flashy. Like I said, we're trying to build something that's gonna work for you guys. So going over to this one, this is another 18-inch Titan reel. These reels, by the way, I didn't mention this. These are stainless steel internals. We had a guy a while back that wanted to price match if he sourced his own reels and brought them to us for building. We got to looking at it. Titan does make reels where this right here is not stainless. So this is where all your liquid runs through. And that's super important on this reel, because if this isn't stainless, we go stainless on everything, but if this isn't stainless and it's just the regular steel, this is going to rust apart, fall apart within a year. I've seen it over and over again. Actually, let's do another field trip. I like showing you guys why we do things. And we got this one on display to get some light. If you can see in there, see if we can get the focus. It's probably hard to see, but this thing is all completely filled up with gunk. This is off a cheap hose reel, but it's just pure pieces of metal and rust in there. This thing is packed full. I wish it could focus, but I think you get the point of it. It's worthwhile spending $100 more on a reel that's not going to fall apart versus trying to save every penny. I get people are on a budget. We're not trying to run the price up by any means, but if we start cutting corners on things like this and things like this, you guys in turn are going to spend more money than what you're saving, and that doesn't make any sense to me. So let's start out with the right stuff. You know, stainless fittings here, full stainless clamps. I see these clamps being sold at like Home Depot. They'll be stainless here, but the screw itself is not stainless. So very important that if you're watching this video and you're considering building something like this for yourself, to make sure that you've done your research. I'm not discouraging you. I'm not saying, hey, come buy our skids or our equipment. We're happy to build them for customers, just like this customer we built this one for. But I feel for some of you guys sometimes that don't do your research and you just start cutting corners on all these things that are going to fail in the future. So the benefit you get from somebody like us is we've done the research. We got, I believe at the time of this video, almost 100 builds out there. We didn't start serializing our builds until partly through this year. We got a bunch out there without serial numbers. But anyways, getting back to this reel, this is, I'll get off my soapbox, but this is another 18-inch reel. We have 200 feet of half-inch soft wash hose on here, crimped ends. Again, just another little tip here. I see guys use hose clamps and all different types of things here. This is really the way to do it. That way you're able to screw this directly onto the hose. Whenever this corrodes up and this fails, it's simple just to cut it off. If you know, we have a crimper luckily, but in most towns you guys can go to a Napa or a hose repair store, and this is usually only about a $20 thing. That keeps this fitting and these connections fresh. So I recommend doing that once a year. But this is a 510 ST 510 gun. Again, stainless steel couplers, stainless steel J-rod. This has a 0 degree, 15 degree, 25 degree, and 40 degree. And these nozzles are especially dialed for the pump. So another common mistake I see is guys will just kind of use any type of nozzle. They're just guessing on this stuff. You cannot guess. What happens is you're going to blow through fuses. You're going to go through your pump a lot sooner than what you normally would. You have to have the right size nozzles. If they're too small, you're going to run into issues and blow everything up. Not literally, but you're going to go through fuses and limit the life of your pump. If you go too big, you're not going to get the distance that you want. So we got these things dialed in. They're the right nozzles for the job. Going on over here, this last reel, again, another 18-inch Titan reel. All these reels are stainless steel internals, stainless steel swivels, full frame aluminum. This here we have the ball valve swivel. This is a nice little addition to here, because as you're turning your hose and pulling around corners and doing different things, this is going to swivel, and the swivel is actually really nice under pressure. This is a true Mossmatic. See if I can switch this and see. We did a little test. I'll have to do a video sometime, but I bought a Mossmatic because I heard that there was fakes out there on Amazon, and I compared it to our trusted supplier where we normally get ours from. Big difference. The problem is the one on Amazon said Mossmatic, and it was not indeed stainless steel, and it was a completely different look. If I can dig those two parts out, I'll put it over on the channel and do a video on that. But again, be careful if you're thinking about building one of these for yourself. Be careful where you source your parts from. Be careful what kind of parts you source when you put it together. The thing we're trying to do here is just put together a super high quality trailer that's going to just work for you guys make you money, help you take care of your families. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So here's my pitch. If you're looking for a high quality, well-built piece of pressure washing equipment, soft wash equipment, let me know. I'd love to build one for you. I'll put all my contact information down there in the description. I'm involved with every single build. We go through these things with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that when they go out to you, they are ready to roll. If you're picking up in person, we do a full training on these. And if you do buy a piece of equipment from me, we do our soft wash startup training classes. You will get that free if that's something that you're interested in being a part of. So again, thank you for watching the video. If we can help you out with one of these, get a hold of us. All the information will be down below. Have a great day.